Guys, windy guys. Oh, don't go there. Oh yeah. Why are you there? Golly. This side. This side. Come on. This side. Come on. Come on. Here. Hey. Here. Come on. Grandma. Here. Go to grandma. Come on. See, look, it's wet, oh. It's flooding. Ay, Rico. No, don't go. Ay, here. 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 Hey. Go. Go. Guys, my cat. I have a lot of lemon tree. Hey, go. Shit. Ari. Oh, let's go inside now. You see grandma? Oh. Come on. Very sweat, no? Hey. Come on. Go. Come on. Hey. Hey. Go. Oh, windy, man. No. Come on. It's windy, huh? Guys, oh, lakas ng hangin, guys. It's my cat. No. Lakas ng hangin, guys. Go. Let's go. Come on. We have 5 minutes. Guys, today's windy day. It's my cat. Hey, where are you? Hello. Hey. Guys, windy days. Windy, guys. Hey, come on. Hey, come on. Let's go see grandma now. Oh, don't go there, shit. Pagsakan ka ng avocado dyan, oh. Avocado right there. A lot of avocado. shit. Oh, hey. Let's go now. Come on, let's go. Let's go, Grandma. Come on. Hey. Come on, let's go, Grandma. Now, come on. All right, let's go, Grandma. Come on. Avocado tree. Mm. Ari. Come on. Hey. Hey. Oh, yeah. Mm. Where are you going? Come on, let's go. Come on. Let's go, Grandma. Come on. Bro. Ay. Mm. Ay. Come on. Ari. Oh, yeah. Kyoko. That's my cat right here. Ay. Come on. Go. Hey. Mm. Let's go, Grandma now. Come on, let's go, Grandma. Grandma. Hey. 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 Ah. Hey. Let's go, see Grandma now. Come on. Sleep time. Sleep time, my friend. Hey. All right, sleep time. Oh. Sleep time. Where are you? Oh. Night, night. Night, night. Hmm? Aray, 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 aray. Ay, ay, ay. Kitty attack. Ay. Mm. Go. Come on. Ay. Ay. Pretty yan, pretty. So pretty. Oh. Ay. Bye. Go. Go inside now. Come on. Go sleep now. Go sleep. Go. Go your grandma's bed. Go. Come on. Hey. Oh, where's your toy now? Guys, oh. Ang lakas ng hangin, guys. It's too windy today, guys. Hi. Hi. Ay. Hey, guys. Big cat howling. Buddy. Go. You missed Kuya Hesi yesterday. Hey. Hey. You're looking for your toy here. That's your toy. Naglalaro. That's her favorite toy. Ay, nahiya. Oh, ayun na. Ayun na. Ayun na. Ayun na. Ayun na. Susugurin niya yan. Watch. Watch. Ayun na. Bilis. Give me. Ayun na. Ay. Sugurin niya yan. Susugurin niya yan. Ayun na. Susugurin niya yan. Watch. Yan na. Ang bilis. Watch. Watch. Ay, ang bilis. Ang bilis eh. Ang bilis ha. Watch. Ang lakas ng hangin, no? Uy. Ang lakas ng hangin. Dapat tabasin ba yung avocado? Ayan na. Ayan na. Ang bilis. No. Stay here. Stay here, my friend. Watch. Lakas ng hangin, no? Uy. Ayan. Susugurin niya yan. Watch. Ayan na. Bilis. Watch. Watch. Ayan, bilis. Ayan na. Ayan na. Kyoko! Uy, ang bilis. Yan na. Hide and seek. Anong laro yun? Catch and fetch. Hide and seek. Anong laro yun? Catch and fetch. Bait siya ngayon, mabait eh, oh. Naglalaro lang mag-isa eh, wala na. Nailabas ko na kasi siya eh. Ayan na naman, oh. May nakita na namang ibon. Stay here. You play with your toy. Come on. Ayan na. Ayan. Nagagat. Go. 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 Sleep na, kaya ako. Come, 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 come. Come on.
When B delivers all the fresh, affordable, hard-to-find foods you love right to your door, you can finally stop settling for bad stuff.
Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu today amid the ceasefire in Gaza, a truce that the president says is not guaranteed to hold.
Meantime, Trump's tariff standoff with China remains in place after securing tentative deals with Canada and Mexico. Beijing has countered his 10% levy on imported goods with retaliatory tariffs. Republican conductor Senator Rand Paul is on deck to react. But first, Alexandria Hawk has more from the White House floor. Hi, Alex.
Hi, good to be with you. Given the somewhat limited scope of retaliatory tariffs for folks like China right now, it is clear that there's interest in a dialogue. And President Trump and President Xi Jinping, they are slated to talk as early as this week. It's expected to happen sometime this week, likely not today because of the time change at this point. President Trump's 10% tariff on all Chinese goods kicked in shortly after midnight.
We'll have some good meetings with China. We have meetings planned, and we'll see what happens. But that was just an opening salvo. If we can't make a deal with China, then the tariffs will be very, very substantial.
China's promising similar. In turn to that, though, at this point, they're promising a 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas products, as well as a 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machinery, and certain cars coming from the U.S. That is set to take effect on the 10th. China also said it would launch an investigation into Google to see if it's violated antitrust laws. They could take it a step further, prohibiting the export of rare earth materials. That would be a big deal. That is all if a deal cannot be reached. And this week, President Trump is 2 for 3. Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau announcing yesterday a 30-day pause on tariffs over a promised boost to border security. The plan includes nearly 10,000 frontline personnel, appointing a fentanyl czar and designating cartels as terrorists, also launching a joint strike force with the U.S. to fight organized crime. As you know, Mexico has also agreed to deploy 10,000 troops to the southern border of the United States in exchange for a tariff delay. It remains to be seen if this will make a dent in reducing fentanyl poisonings. The White House has reiterated all day that this is a drug war, not a trade war. Sandra?
All right, Alex Hawk live there at the White House for us. Thank you.
This is taxpayer money. It's not my money. It's not their money. It's our money. It's taxpayer money. And we have an obligation, if we're going to do foreign aid, to do it in a way that makes sense.
The newly appointed Secretary of State Marco Rubio on USAID after announcing that the agency tasked with humanitarian aid will now be under the State Department after critics argue it is wasting taxpayer dollars on projects that advance plans like DEI. We've got House Board Affairs Committee Chairman Brian Nance on deck to react to this organization. First, let's get to Maddie Rivera.
A lot of turmoil surrounding this issue, John. USAID buildings remain closed today. So the acting head of the agency, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, says a review is being done of USAID. Rubio says this is not about getting rid of foreign aid. He argues USAID has veered off course from its original mission of advancing American interests abroad. There are also reports that USAID has fallen short of its goals for some projects in years past. Republicans have pointed out USAID has spent $20 million for a Sesame Street workshop in Iraq. It's doled out $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces and business communities. It's given $6 million to fund tourism in Egypt, all initiatives that Republicans say are just plain wasteful.
I have been on USAID's case
for years now, going back several years, where I was trying to investigate the expenditures for humanitarian aid, primarily when it came to the war in Ukraine. And what my team and I encountered was absolute obstruction and lies coming out of USAID.
But supporters say USAID has helped counter Russian and Chinese influence around the world. They also say the 90-day freeze the president has implemented in foreign aid not only threatens lives, but livelihoods too. Causal Design, a Colorado-based contractor, says it's losing 70% of its revenue from the USAID stop work order. Its CEO says they're considering layoffs within the end of the month if the situation doesn't change.
I think one of my frustrations and what I'm trying to push is we can review this portfolio. We can look at aid. We can look at things to improve. But let's do it while we're working. There's no need to stop business, to stop industry. The small businesses will not make it 90 days.
Democrats say reorganization of USAID can't be legally done without congressional approval, setting up perhaps another legal battle for the Trump administration in the coming days and the coming weeks.
Yeah, that's what Megan Hayes was saying exactly the same thing as the guy from Causal Design is, why shut it down? Go through it with a fine-tooth comb, but keep the funding that's necessary to keep running these businesses. Patty, thanks. Appreciate it, Sam.
Okay, more on that USAID fight in just a moment. But first, to Trump's upcoming meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu, the House Foreign Affairs Committee Chairman Brian Mast, he joins us now live. Thank you so much, sir, for joining the program. So please do tell us what we should expect from this meeting.
But with Prime Minister Netanyahu, you're going to hear discussion about the capabilities that they have to counter Iran, what they've already destroyed that hasn't been given, let's say, open source information, the networks that won't continue to exist for Hamas, for Hezbollah, things going on with Syria, what we need to know for national security and terrorism across the sphere. He'll be very comprehensive about what has taken place and what will be the path forward.
So the Israeli ambassador to the United Nations, Danny Danon, wrote a piece in Fox News Digital today about the upcoming meeting. Here's what he said. He said, Trump-Netanyahu meeting has three things on the agenda that could change the Middle East. He says, the two leaders will convene on Tuesday afternoon to discuss the next phase of the hostage release framework, the Iranian threat, as well as prospects of a Saudi-Israeli normalization deal. They're all very important issues, of course, but this idea of renewing talks on expanding the Abraham Accords to include Saudi Arabia, that was the deal that they almost got done before Hamas lit the flame of October the 7th. If they can get that deal done in the days and weeks ahead, how would that change the broader face of the Middle East?
And so when you have that as the way forward, like we were discussing, then you have another country that's going in there saying they're not looking for concession from Israel as it relates to Gaza in all likelihood. They're accepting that Gaza had absolutely been the aggressor continually year after year, launching rocket attacks, stabbings, bus bombings, you name it, and they are now ready to normalize with Israel. That is an important domino to fall in terms of the way that they move forward and what they demand or do not demand as it relates to any relationship with Palestinians. That's I think the biggest linchpin that takes place in the wording of what goes forward.
All right, so now to Secretary of State Marco Rubio and this USAID fight that is happening right now. He's the acting director of USAID, and he spoke about this. And this is I'm going to get your reaction to this.
Their basic attitude is we don't work for anyone, we work for ourselves. No agency of government can tell us what to do. There are things that are happening at USAID that we should not be involved in funding, or that we have a lot of questions about. But they're completely uncooperative. So we had no choice but to take dramatic steps to bring this thing under control.
Okay, so what dramatic steps can you get behind here, Tom?
Everything that Marco Rubio is doing, I am behind. He's saying that very nicely. The reason they have to shutter these doors is because they will go in, they will delete these things off of servers, they will work to hide them, they will simply say, no, we're not going to tell you. In front of me right now, if I was looking down, I have 3 or 4 pages of just provocative things they were spending money on, from $500,000 in Indonesia to help teach coffee companies on how to be more gender friendly, to just giving millions of dollars to people in the Caribbean for just being LGBTQ. Same thing in Serbia, other places. The list goes on and on, where they were just burning your money in ways that wasn't making America the partner of choice. And again, I have pages of these.
Well, Congressman, that is, in fact, I mean, it's definitely true. But at the same time, USAID does fund a lot of legitimate businesses, does do a lot of good work around the world. It's not related to any of those things that many people are calling a frivolous expense of taxpayer money. Why shut it down for 90 days? We heard just a moment ago in Matty Rivera's good report that there's a company out west called Causal Design that probably isn't going to be able to make its payroll and stay afloat if this 90-day pause actually takes place. Why not go through it with a fine-tooth comb? Sure, change the administration, but not shut down the funding that's so desperately needed by some of these businesses that are legitimate.
I don't think you can do it that way because of the way that they do work to hide this. And bear in mind, I chaired Foreign Affairs Oversight for the last couple of years. They will come to Congress. They will lie to our face. Even if you're holding up the document that says, well, this shows what you were doing. Here's your signature on it. No, I didn't do that. That's not what we did. That's what they will say to your face. You have to do it in this way because of the way that they have acted. And again, they're not asking questions across the board, even if they're providing aid. These three important questions. What does America need from that country or region? What does that country or region actually want from America? Because most of the time it's not drag shows. It's not teaching them gender identity. It's not giving them comic books related to trans and other things. They want something different from us. But you also have to ask, does what we provide, if we provide something, does it get America what it needs or what it's asking for? And USAID systemically across the board has not been looking at the world or asking those questions in that way.
Congressman Bill Gates weighed in on the View. He's warning that millions will die if this funding comes to an end.
My foundation partners with USAID on nutrition and getting vaccines out. And, those incredible people. They're not actually worms that work there.
Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get some of that work back in shape. In fact, if we don't, you could have literally millions of deaths.
To him, you say what, Congressman?
For one, every one of those groups that's working with USAID has the ability and they know the process to apply to USAID and to Secretary Rubio to say, this is where we're literally saving lives. We're not doing drag shows, we're saving lives. Please grant an exception for this. They know how to go out there and apply that. Some people are saying they don't, they absolutely do. But the other thing I would say is this is not the baby being thrown out with the bathwater, as people, sometimes say. LGBTQ, trans, DEI initiatives were not the exception or the outlier. They were the rule of what was going on. And when you actually look at these lists comprehensively to see everything that they were doing, you really start to realize that.
All right, well, Congressman, we'll keep following this to see where it goes and whether or not the 90-day pause does stay in effect. Appreciate your time, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, now this. Protesters rallied earlier today against Elon Musk's Doge. What actions is he taking that are sparking the outrage? We'll have those details coming up next.
Meanwhile, Canada and Mexico agreeing to President Trump's demands over tariffs for now. Will China be close behind? We'll ask Kentucky Senator Rand Paul. He'll join us. He criticized the tariff plans. We'll see what he's saying now when he joins us next.
Plus, Tulsi Gabbard facing a key vote on her fate as Director of National Intelligence. We are awaiting that decision from the Senate Intelligence Committee just ahead.
Protesters this morning outside the Office of Personnel Management sounding off on Elon Musk and his Doge actions. Doge is swiftly moving to purge and reshape the federal government, but Musk's measures are now raising some legal questions. Fox Business's Hillary Vaughn's on this from the Hill for us. Hillary, what agencies is Doge setting its sights on?
Save on gas and take the East Train between Stockton and San Jose with 10 convenient stops along the way. Qualified riders can get up to 15% off with our Community Assistance Program. Apply now at acerail.com.
South Korea's #1 probiotics drink, Whip. With Sung Min, the Premier League's top scorer, becomes the global #1. Probiotics Whip is the best choice even in the U.S.
Sandra, no government agency is untouchable when it comes to accounting for how
American taxpayer money is being sent. The next agency that has been doged is the Small Business Administration. Elon Musk's team has asked them for access to their payment history and contracts. Musk's government-wide audit is disturbing some Democrats, though, particularly his access to the Treasury Department's payment system. Minority Leader Chuck Schumer calling what Doge is doing a hostile takeover of the government.
Elon Musk took issues to my warning that Doge is operating in many ways like a shadow government. Give me a break. Nothing screams democracy like having a secret squad of company men pull off a hostile takeover of America's Social Security and tax information in the dead of night.
Elon Musk is hitting back at Schumer, saying, quote, he's mad that Doge is dismantling the radical left shadow government in full view of the public. This is our one chance to return power to the people from an unelected bureaucracy back to democracy. But now, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, the man who opened the doors of the Treasury Department to Doge, is being sued. Union groups filing the lawsuit say it's violating their privacy. Quote, people who must share information with the federal government should not be forced to share information with Elon Musk or his Doge, and federal law says they do not have to. Republicans say Doge is just doing the math, adding up every dollar and cent of taxpayer money that's being spent.
The Democrats need to get used to this. We are going to find ways to focus our American taxpayer dollars on the things that they should be spent on. So get ready for disruption, get used to disruption.
So Elon Musk may have his eyes set on the IRS next. He posted a poll on X asking if people want to see Doge audit the tax agency. Sandra?
Okay, Hillary Long live on the Hill for us on that. Thank you, Hillary. John?
Well, that would be a turn about, wouldn't it? Canada and Mexico striking an 11th-hour deal with President Trump, narrowly avoiding a trade war. While Trump is delaying tariffs against them, his tariffs on Chinese goods went into effect today. China now heading back with its own economic retaliatory measures. And while several Republican lawmakers are praising Trump's tariffs, Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is sounding off on them. And he joins us now to talk more about this. So you posted on X on Saturday, Senator Paul, following tariffs, you said, are simply taxes. Conservatives once again united against new taxes. Taxing trade will mean less trade and higher prices. We put that yesterday to the president's trade advisor, Peter Navarro. Here is his response.
It's a drug war, not a trade war, and anybody who's talking about inflation right now is dishonoring the men, women, and children who have died at the hands of Chinese, Mexican, Canadian fentanyl coming across our borders. That's what this is about.
What do you, Senator, say to Peter Navarro?
You know, tariffs are taxes, and anything that increases the cost of a good will ultimately increase its price. Now, generalized inflation or a generalized increase in prices is caused by debt and the Federal Reserve buying the debt and a devaluation of every dollar. But individual prices going up in areas where there are tariffs absolutely happens, and it actually does affect trade. If you look at the farmers right now, there are still people in Congress wanting to give them a bailout from the effects that tariffs had in 2018 and 2019. When we put tariffs on China, China quit buying as much of our agricultural goods and our farmers suffered. There are still people in Washington today wanting to subsidize them for the harm they felt from tariffs. So the best way to look at tariffs is the seen and the unseen. You can see the steel workers you might help, but you don't see the 80 workers who buy steel for every one worker making steel that suffers from higher prices. Without question, tariffs raise prices and aren't good for trade. As leverage and negotiation, of course, the president was the ultimate negotiator. He did get Mexico to send some troops, and he got Canada to step up their patrols. So as a negotiating weapon, absolutely they have value as long as we never enact them when they are a disaster for trade and for the consumer.
Well, with all due respect, Senator, good to have you on the program. Thanks for being here. I didn't hear your direct response to Navarro from the White House saying this isn't a trade war, this is a drug war, he said. And he referencing your tweet and your take on these tariffs by saying that you're dishonoring the men and women and children who have died at the hands of the Chinese, Mexican, and Canadian fentanyl coming across our borders. To that, you say what?
Yeah, that's kind of a ridiculous statement to say that people are against tariffs are for the fentanyl trade because it's just not true. Everything we can do to stop the fentanyl trade from Mexico and Canada, we should try to do. Part of it is them allowing it to come through. Part of it's the fact that in Mexico, about a sixth of Mexico isn't even under the control of the government. So I do applaud the president for pushing Mexico into saying we'll put troops on the border and the Remain in Mexico policy will be in place. All those are a good thing. And I think we're all on the same side on that. But tariffs as an economic policy are a disaster for the consumer, mean higher prices. Even if the tariffs are only on China, the average price that the consumer will pay is about $1,000 more. So every American will be $1,000 less rich because of these tariffs.
So the Wall Street Journal editorial board is also not a fan of the Trump tariff strategy. He actually made mention of that yesterday in the Oval Office. He disagrees with it. But here's what the editorial board wrote after the deals were struck with Mexico and Canada. They said, quote, Trump blinks on North American tariffs. The president pauses after minor concessions from Canada and Mexico. President Trump never admits a mistake, but he often changes his mind. That's the best way to read his decision Monday to pause the 25% tariffs against Mexico and Canada after minor concessions from each country. Do you agree? Do you believe these were minor concessions or were they more than that?
Even though I'm not a big fan of tariffs, I think he actually did have a successful, the victory is for Trump. He's gotten the lawless part of Mexico. He's gotten a promise from the president to send 10,000 troops up there. That is a huge win. We now have troops on our side. If they have troops on their side, we can take what is a lawless area and hopefully bring law and order to that area. So no, I think that's a huge win for him. Even though I don't agree with the economic benefit of tariffs, I do think he did use the negotiating leverage to get something good. I just hope we can stop with the victory and not put in place a tax that is not beneficial to the American consumer.
I mean, have you already seen a direct impact in your state? I know the governor has, appealed to the Kentucky delegation there in Washington saying, help us out. I mean, specifically, the bourbon industry's come up, $9 billion, 22,000 people.
Right.
What's your warning on that front economically?
We are still suffering from some of the effects of the bourbon industry from the last go-round of tariffs. Europe responded to that go-round and raised tariffs on bourbon, and it did affect our international bourbon sales. But we also make a lot of cars in Kentucky, and the car manufacturers buy steel. Price of steel going up hurts the car manufacturers. So we have a lot of international shippers. We have people sending packages around the world to a person. Almost all of our major industries in Kentucky come to me and say they don't want tariffs because trade has made us wealthier as a state and as a country.
You know, I heard the Canadian Prime Minister the other day encouraging Canadians that the tariffs went into effect to, instead of buying Kentucky bourbon, buy Canadian whiskey. And with all
that would be a downgrade. Those are fighting words, and that would be a downgrade. Nothing better than Kentucky bourbon. I don't want to hear any of that on Fox News now.
I was going to say, with all due respect to my former countrymen, one of my formative experiences was going over to my Uncle George and Aunt Esme's every Sunday for dinner when they would make Manhattans with Canadian whiskey. It's somewhat different.
But even if you were just a kid, you probably got a little bit for medicinal purposes, right?
No, it was just the smell. That was enough.
Okay.
You need a few more maraschino cherries in that Manhattan. All right, thank you so much, Senator.
Needed some bourbon. Thank you. Thanks to the leadership.
All right, getting bored of the bourbon there. All right, New York City is learning more about the first military flights with detained migrants headed for Guantanamo Bay. Brand new details on how the military is preparing. Plus this.
But they will pay for that if they attempt to shoot at, take shots at, aggressively approach troops from border patrol agents. We're not going to stand for it ever.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth with a warning for cartels as a new memo highlights the dangers our Border Patrol agents are facing. Retired ICE Special Agent Victor Avala's partner was killed by a cartel. Victor joins us coming up next. The first two military flights of detained migrants head to Guantanamo Bay, where 300 U.S. troops await their arrival. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, when pressed on the criticism for the new detainment center, had this to say.
We've got the hardened detention facilities that were open since 9/11, where we have the worst of the worst. That's where folks like Trende Araujo are going to go. If you're a violent gangbanger and you've been taken out of our country and we're waiting to bring you to your country, we're going to put you in a cell block built for Al Qaeda.
Chief National Security Correspondent Jennifer Griffin live at the Pentagon Forum. What do we know about these flights, Jen?
Well, John, Fox News has confirmed the first military flight of about a dozen miles.
Which plan, huh? Do you have one? You're talking about what is your plan for a reliable source of power when the next emergency strikes? Well, check this out. It's called the Patriot Power Generator 2000X, and it's from the family over at Fort Patriots. See, they took a page out of the military's playbook for portable solar power, and now we get to use it in our own homes. What's even better is that this solar generator can power critical appliances like your fridge, your microwave, and your CPAP machine, so that you're prepared for whatever emergency strikes next. So go on, check it out. It's over at fortpatriots.com.
Step into a world where beauty meets play. Introducing Days. New battery fragrance and body care formulated with our clean promise. Layer, mix, and match to build your routine. Beauty to make your days. Available now from Ulta.
Get hooked up on everyday spending with Cash App offers. From the U.S. will leave Fort Bliss, Texas later today and arrive at the naval station in Guantanamo Bay sometime later today. And those migrants will be housed in a secure detention facility that has been used for military combatants since 9/11. The Pentagon has ordered 300 Marines to help build tents, latrines, and showers in a separate part of the Navy base after the president signed a memorandum that directed DoD and DHS to, quote, provide additional detention space for high-priority criminal aliens. Defense Secretary Hegseth, who was at the southern border yesterday, has vowed to make room for up to 30,000 migrants at the naval station, which he has repeatedly pointed out was used as a way station for thousands of Haitian and Cuban migrants in the 1990s.
Put Trinidad and Tobago before you send them all the way back. How about a maximum security prison at Guantanamo Bay, where we have the space?
Let's remember, we got a migrant processing center there for decades. So we come there and do reform, we're home, we set the time, we're home to work.
I mean, the Clinton administration had tens of thousands of migrants at Guantanamo Bay. It's been used many times over.
But that was before 9/11 and a Supreme Court decision that gave anyone sent to Gitmo the right to habeas corpus. In other words, the right to a lawyer and their day in court. That 2008 decision is called Lakhdar-Boumediene versus Bush. The Supreme Court ruled individuals at Guantanamo Bay can challenge the legality of their detention. It's been a factor that slowed for years the government's ability to complete the prosecution of Khalid Sheikh Mohammed and other 9/11 planners. Right now, there are not enough beds at Gitmo for an influx of migrants. The Marines have set up tents for about 1,000 people as of now, but those are not secure areas. Hegseth has said they may use the golf course there to put up tents for 6,000 migrants. He would not rule out sending migrant families to Gitmo and putting hardened gang members like the Trinidad in with the 15 remaining detainees captured after 9/11. But it is not clear, John, right now whether this plan is legal and whether the migrants who are taken there will suddenly have a right to a lawyer, which will begin a long legal process that could prevent the U.S. government from then deporting them to their final destination. John?
All right, Jennifer Griffin with the latest in the Pentagon. Jen, thank you. Sandra?
All right, Border Patrol agents under new threat as cartel chiefs are reportedly ordering their members to attack U.S. agents with kamikaze drones and explosives. All of this as the Trump administration is keeping up its pressure to crack down on illegal migrants coming into the country. That's bringing retired ICE Special Agent Victor Avila, whose partner was killed by a cartel, for reacting to all of this. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. So how do you react to these court cartels ordering members to attack border agents?
Well, Sandra, it shows the desperation of the cartels because of the securing of the border. Remember, they still want to bring the fentanyl. They still want to bring the bodies, the human trafficking, the human smuggling. It's building up in Mexico, and they need to move it through. But now you have our U.S. military. Now you're going to get Mexican military. It's going to make it very difficult for them, which I believe is going to make the cartels react. There is going to be a reaction for the cartels. I know personally that how violent these cartels are.
And I believe that the U.S. government, especially having our Secretary of Defense at the border, understand the threat that they face, especially our border agents on the line, of any possible attack or violent aggression towards our law enforcement agents.
Yeah, and there you can see Secretary Pete Hegseth at the border, El Paso, Texas. That's on Monday. I want to put this up on the screen. The Fox Digital article, Mexican cartels targeting Border Patrol agents with these kamikaze drones and explosives. Amid this Trump crackdown, an internal memo titled Officer Safety Alert cited social media posts and other sources for the warning to federal agents. The New York Post reported agents were reminded to be cognizant of their surroundings and should be wearing their ballistic armor and utilizing their long firearms. I mean, quite a situation they have to deal with. I mean, more to deal with, I should say, right, Victor? Tom Homan, the border czar, reacted earlier on Fox to these cartel threats to border agents. Listen.
Once we secure the border, make it more difficult for them to make money, it's going to become violent. You're going to see violence on the border, and it's unfortunate, but we know it's coming. Border Patrol is prepared. It's great to have the military on the southern border. They're prepared. It'd be a bad move on their part to harm any border agent or soldier, because I think President Trump will reply with great force, and I think he has the capability of wiping these cartels off the face of the earth.
So he says they're prepared. They know this is coming. But gosh, this is scary for so many of the border agents who have to deal with this.
Well, let me tell you why, Sandra. A lot of those threats and those memos that came issued is because of what's happening in Mexico. You've got a full-out war on two sides of Mexico. One on the other side of Arizona, the Sonora Desert, the Sinaloa cartel are having massive daily firefights. Just in the last couple of days, on the other side of Laredo, Texas, in Nuevo Laredo, there was a capture of the number 2 guy of the Cartel de Noreste, or the Cartel of Northeast, and extreme firefights. You would think these fights and shooting is happening in Iraq, but it's not. It's right next to our country. And as a matter of fact, there's reports out there of one of these drones that the cartel used against one of their other cartel members with a bomb. And this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with terrorists, rightly so. And I believe President Trump is right in designating them as such, because we have to deal with them as such. And the DOD resources, I'm glad to see them join forces with DHS, because we're going to have to bring everyone here to combat these guys. They're not going to put their hands up and give themselves up. They're going to fight, although we're going to.
Talagang hindi magbabago. nalaglag na. Kasi dyan napulot na isa.
Asa kay Lotto binili natin?
Ano na sa bag ko?
Ha?
Nasa bag.
Sa yung alaga niyo?
Ha?
Sa yung alaga niyo?
Hindi ko pa binubuksan yung
Hindi na kayo lalabas dyan?
Hindi na.
Nakakulong siya dito eh.
O yan?
Baka nag-aabang na.
Baka nag-aabang na.
Natulog.
Oo.
Nakatingin lang. Tama na, nilabas na kita.
Lakas naman.
Burieles! Burieles!
Ano?
Burieles!
What?
Ayan, mahaba yung tulog niya. Saka yun na nakarating. Ayan na yung ulan.
May tubig ka sa parke. Naglalanguyan na yung mga pato